Hey guys, welcome to Power Within with me, Amy, your heart whisperer therapist. I'm a good wife.
Vicky, I'm the queen of rapid hypnosis.
Together with the Eastwoods, and we're going to be covering therapy,
Hypnotherapy,
couples relationship therapy,
hypnosis, and all the other shit in between.
If it's current, if it's relevant,
we'll be covering it. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to Power Within. Today we're going to talk about men's mental health, and today we have a special guest, Ian. Welcome, Ian.
Welcome.
Thank you.
He's got a wealth of knowledge, his own struggles. He's going to share his experience with addiction, recovery, what it's been like for him growing up with some of his struggles, and how he's been able to put that forward in the big thing that we show with paying it forward. You're a big advocate of that, which is why he's got on board. He's somebody dear to us who's willing to get vulnerable today and to share it with you guys. So Ian, welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me on. I think a big part of what I heard before was that pay it forward.
Yeah.
There's a book out there and a film. I think that is going in your man King something, but I think it's a great thing, isn't it? Paying it forward. And for me, the paying it forward part was somebody putting a hand out to me and helping me, because I wouldn't have got that hand. I don't know who it would have been. And a guy called Tommy Lynch who helped me out and brought me through. So paying it forward for me when I listened to your guys' stuff. So I knew you were going to smash it anyway, but when I heard you do that sort of stuff, I thought, oh, brilliant. Paying it forward's amazing. So well done, man.
Oh, thank you.
I think that the paying it forward's the most important part of anything. And if I can say, I don't mind getting vulnerable, saying about all my dirty, rotten, whatever stuff's happened to me in the past, if it gets one person paid forward.
Absolutely.
Because that's what it's all about, isn't it?
And I think that's the idea. Like we've said, we're going to talk about addiction, recovery. You know, me and Vic, as you know, we're not addicts. We've got family members that are. When our foster and adoption one hit home with so many people, you know, that was because of addiction. My sister's out in the world currently. If she ever listens to this, she's probably going to want to hurt me. But, you know, it's real life. So for you to come and get vulnerable and share, and especially some of the mental health stuff that you've been able to implement, then if it just hits one guy, one woman, one family, then we paid it forward and we're doing something right.
One mum, one dad that are just out there and just thinking, what's happening? Is it something I've done? And it's not something mum and dad's done, is it? It's in us. We're not scientists. We don't know what it's all about yet, do we? But for me personally, it's normally childhood trauma. Childhood trauma for addiction for me was childhood traumas happen, and we all find ways to cope, don't we? We all try and avoid pain going through life. And for me, I found a way that was very maladaptive and caused me a lot of problems, to the point where, for me, a big part that happened in my life when I was young is I had a young baby die. I felt responsible, and I buried it. I pushed it down. I was sort of 16, pushed it down, didn't talk about it, went back to work. This was when the party scene was on, you know, the raving and that sort of stuff, so it was easy to go out every weekend and forget about stuff, until it wasn't, you know. And then myself and the partner I was with the other time, we had a child, it broke down, and some guys come move into my house, funny enough, and I don't blame anybody for what choices I've made, but one of the guys there, he was using heroin, and he said, have a little sniff of this, and I did, and forgot about problems all for a while, and it'd be every now and then I'd do it, and it got a little bit more, you know, with sniffing it.
What age were you then?
Thinking back to it, I was sort of 17, 18, going to 19 sort of thing, you know. So when it really got bad and sniffing with the heroin, it was more 19. I tried it when I was younger, but it was more 19. Before, it was just a dabble. But when I was 19 and with my other son Jordan, and the split up, I was going through so much pain. I didn't know what it was. You know, I'm a young lad. I'm thinking, what is missing? What's his pain all about? I don't know what's happening. And I went away on holiday for a couple of days, and my back was really hurting, and I felt really ill and all that sort of stuff. And I got back to Birmingham, took some heroin, and all the pain went. And I sort of said before, it was a real strange situation, because I felt like I belonged to something. I was addicted to this thing. This thing would always make me feel better, whatever. I always knew this thing would make me feel better. It's going to rape me of everything I've got, for want of a better word, sorry. It's going to take all my life. It's going to, I'm going to lose everything, but it's always going to be there. And it's following me on throughout my life. And I've had people saying to me, "You're a clever kid, like, you're this, you're that. What is it about this that makes you keep going back to it?" And as much as you can sit there and say, "I'm constantly in pain, constantly feeling pain," and it stops it. The next day it doesn't, because I'm filled it with shame as well.
Is that with emotional pain or physical pain?
Emotional pain, yeah. Physical pain, I love to box, I love to do that sort of stuff. The physical pain doesn't worry me, but emotional pain I can't handle.
And back then, I suppose there wasn't much mental health or any kind of awareness.
None. When at that time I'd gone straight, so I was working for my brother, so I had a suit on. And there's a place called Turning Point you could go to get a methadone script. Because I remember, if you're on heroin, trying to hold down a job, you've got to meet dealers, you've got to get the money for it, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. It's chaotic. So if you get to a methadone script, you can take that in the morning and you're okay. But you end up using on top of that as well, so then your habit gets even worse. And they sat there, because I had a suit on, and they just basically went, "You ain't got a problem." And then the next time I came across it, I've actually gone to All Saints' doors, knocked the door and said, "Will you please just take me in? I am going to lose my stuff." Do you know what I mean? I've knocked police doors. "You've got a warrant for me?" "No, we haven't." I could not get clean. The only place I got clean, firstly, was in prison. I got arrested in 1999, went to prison for 2 years, and I never used in prison for self-preservation, because I didn't want to be somebody's whatever. And I stayed clean all the way through, got big, got back to normal, come out, but I'd had no education in there. So I thought I could do it once, no one's watching. Did it. Before you know it, it's got me.
I guess you never got rid of that trauma either, though.
No.
And when I look at a wall now, and we've shared bits, but I think you've been to that room, haven't you? You helped me paint it at one point, but where I did my placement hours was in my drug recovery place. Great setup. Is it missing things? Yes. But the wall, this one wall in particular, was a bit knackered. Massive crack on it. And how I used to describe the therapy work with some of them was, if you paint over that crack, it's probably going to look reasonable. If you paper over it, you can't see the crack. Doesn't mean it's not there. And eventually, over time, you're going to get worn down. That paper's coming off. That crack is exposed. And my clients used to see it and would sometimes be talking, but at this crack, and they'd go, "I get that." And so sometimes it was about that paper peeling back, and maybe for you, and this wasn't something we talked about earlier, but maybe over time that paper peels back for you. That vulnerability is still there, the trauma's still there. Maybe you've learnt to walk around it, but that crack's not been filled.
No.
And for anyone, when I talk therapy, when I talk about addiction, and I never thought we'd go down this direction, but it's about, you have to get vulnerable. You have to physically repair that wall properly, and then you can start moving forward.
Yeah, because the bubble will come through.
Yeah, and when you've talked about some of your experiences and some of the time when you've been in recovery and some of the work you've done to pay it forward, maybe that is like the paper for you. You pay it forward, you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you're in survival. But over time, in the short time we just had this conversation, that paper keeps pulling off.
It does, yeah.
And you're exposed, and you might get some blue tack or whatever it be, but it's still there.
And that's exactly what happened was when I went to work for the Lighthouse, which for me, this was, I'd worked for 23 years in the scaffolding industry, built up a good name for the mental health. Lighthouse snatched me, come and do housing for us, paying me fortunes a day, my dream job, going and talking to the lads. And I started, it was strange and weird, because I thought, well, I don't know how to do this. Just be honest. So I walked out into front of all these lads and I went, right, my problem is, I'm still feeling guilty because I felt responsible for a child dying. Because we didn't tell the mum and dad, she wasn't able to look after herself, blah, blah, blah. So I start, for some reason, I start prodding it now. I haven't gone and done it in therapy, I've gone and prodded it out with a load of people. And boom, I'm sitting in the hotel room at night thinking, you've gone a little bit too far there. What I should have done is got in touch with someone and gone, I need to stop this, I need to go and work with this. But it was the tour was going so well, and I'll be alright. But yeah, I just started going down and down and down, and in the end, I was drinking more. Then I'm getting tablets, and then before you know it, I'm not thinking straight. Before you know it, I'm there, I'm gone. And Lighthouse tried to help me out. They took me off thing, they gave me therapy and paid me for a bit and all that sort of stuff. But it seems it just come back to get me. Now I left Linden with a decent payoff. You know, it could have all gone really well, but I just chose to self-destruct. And in the back of my mind, or something always said, you know, I was stood on stage getting an award off Jimmy Carr for what we've done for mental health, right? I don't remember it. I don't remember being there because I was burnt out. I've done that. I've been working that hard to try and put something over that crack in the wall. I kept throwing stuff at that wall to put a crack on it, and it kept breaking. You know, people who say to me, "Are you helping people just to help yourself?" I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's just get it there. You know, get people talking, and then eventually, it's just when I had the MDR, we had to rip it off, and I had to look at it, and I got a chance to say, "Sorry." If it was now, it wouldn't have happened that way. I'm very sorry, and to the point now, I can say I'm over Luke. I'm not over Luke. You know, I wish it could have happened. It wouldn't have happened, but I didn't mean that. There was no malicious stuff in that. I take responsibility for it. I don't discount it, and I'll never deny it. You know what I mean? But it's done. I've got 2 other sons now to look after, and it's time to move on. It's time to get on. But then again, I find myself in a strange part of my life now where it's difficult. It's difficult not to go back to the old mistress.
Yeah, you mentioned this before, where you've got this. Well, you say person, but you described it before as like the wolf, where it's always there, and always. You sometimes like it to be in the driving seat.
He's a friend of mine. and sometimes I used to feel so guilty, or because our minds are so complicated, aren't they? And you'd be like, I'm running things, I'm doing things well, everything's okay, and he's sat in the back seat going, "When's it my go? I'm not going to get a chance to drive the car." You know, got that little brother or little sister going, "Look, give me a go," and you're thinking, no, because you'll cause chaos. But you know, at some point you've got to let them have a go, because I've been in situations, without talking it up, where it's been quite hairy situations, and this guy who lives in me somewhere has come forward and got me out of it, or you know, worked it out, or stood up to someone. It wouldn't, not my normal ways. You know what I mean? But things like my dad taught me.
You feel that's the fun side of you sometimes?
I wouldn't say he's vile. He's vile. Yeah, he's vile. Really vile.
But we have spoke that even after this evening, you're going to come back and have a hypnotherapy session, because when you've spoke to me about this, there's things what I can do to help.
Yeah.
And maybe in the next couple of weeks you can come back and speak on it and
That'd be
see
amazing.
how you feel.
That'd be brilliant.
Because if we can pay it forward a little bit and give you that opportunity to try hypnotherapy, because it's probably one therapy you've not really tried yet.
No.
It'll be a good experience.
I tried it once, right, to stop smoking, and the guy in the room doing it, and I said, I don't want to miss that room, I want to stay there. Because that's how weird I was. Like, no, not putting me on down, I broke on my own.
And ultimately you have to want that change. And I think if we go back to addiction and recovery, one key thing that I found in the work, and one thing that you said earlier, and obviously we had a discussion beforehand, was you have to want the change. So to break a cycle for addiction, you have to want it. When you talk about that wolf, green eyes, describe him, there's an element that he's you and you like him. Maybe there's a safety element where, like you say, he protects you. And I've had this conversation with clients before working with addiction. But the one key thing that we've come across often if they're doing it for somebody else, they're probably going to trip up.
Yeah.
If their recovery is because of a partner or because of the kids, and I know my mum lives in hurt still that my sister chose drugs over her kids, because she sees it as black and white. And I've had to share some of the work that we've learned. I know it's not black and white, Ian. I don't want it to sound that we've got it all figured out, because we don't know what addiction is. We know it's not black and white, but the times you've got clean have probably been influenced by your wife and your sons, rather than you, Ian, deserves that happiness. And I think this conversation, hypnotherapy later, I think could be a massive turning point for you of going, I now belong without that in my life.
I think where you're right there as well is there's been a long time in my life now thinking you get something nice, but then you think back to something like tap. So I'm pushing out because of the wall, because of Luke, when the cracks in all. But I don't need that in my life anymore. And just because I don't need it in my life anymore, I used to use that as an excuse and go, do you know what? All this good stuff you've got around you, you're seeing your little boy driving that little Range Rover car and all that sort of stuff. What about Luke? Luke's never going to get that. All this nice time I spend with my son, there's always a pan there going, yeah, but you need that for Luke. So it's as if that's something there, when somebody will go, yeah, but I can't now. I've got, and to be fair, it feels to me like I've got to get rid of the wolf, because I don't need him anymore. To be fair, I don't want him in my life anymore. I don't have that sort of life where I have to bring people into that situation. I don't want it. I don't need it. And all I want now is just try and get something sorted out with my life and my wife and my little boy, because my little boy's quite worried at the moment. But I've got to have a conversation with my little boy. My wife's texting me this morning saying Charlie's worried about us. So it's for me. It's for us. It's for me. I want to be a good dad. Do you know what I mean? And I think something drastic got to go on. So yeah, and the offer of that is brilliant. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice that you've reached out to us though as well. So that's the main thing, is if you can reach out, then we know that where the problems are. And
that's the main thing, isn't it? For anybody out there, it's just to reach out. And we said at the start, but if somebody puts the hand out to you, you can hold them, and chances are they're going to let you down, because that's mental health, that's addiction. It's going to keep on putting your hand out, keep on putting your hand out. And it gets hard for mums and stuff, doesn't it? Where they're just, But I didn't speak to my mum for 11 years because I was atrocious. But through my oldest son, who phoned me 2 years ago and said, your mum's dying of cancer, what do you want to do? I got to go there and see her and nursed her through until she died. Fell in love with her again. Got back in with my son. So...
Was you clean at that aspect?
Yeah. So, and she was able to say to me, I'm so proud of you. So it was nice. Do you know what I mean? So there's so much good going on. And the truth of the matter is, sometimes you've got to be honest with yourself. I just need to grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
I need to grow up.
Does that mean, in a sense though, Ian, at 16, 17, and I can't comprehend it, but you lost your little boy, you went straight back to work, and you found a cuddle in heroin. That doesn't mean because time's evolved and you've moved forward that you've necessarily moved on. No. You know what I mean? In some of our work that we do, we find that people are stuck at 16, but I've got to be a husband. Stuck at 16 and I've not learnt to grieve. Stuck at 16 and you've got to be a dad to Charlie and your older son in whatever capacity now. It's not the flick of a switch of going, well, because I have to do it, I'm going to do it. Because when things become too much and you think it's a burnout or a relapse or whatever, that wolf on your shoulder protects you and goes, Ian, I'll take over. Yeah. I'm the cuddle that you really need.
You sit behind.
And actually, I think when we talk at this level with anybody, I want families to recognise it isn't black and white. My mum, in her mind currently, she's still angry that the kids were second best to an addiction. So it has to be black and white because that's how she's processing it. Although I don't speak to my sister, I know it's not black and white. but at the same time, she's not going to get clean for anyone other than herself.
Yeah.
If that's ever going to materialise. And you saw the worst case scenarios of mental health, and we say men, and that isn't because it's not happening with women. I think it's more open with women than men. Women haven't learned that they've got to be having it all figured out and they can't get emotional, vulnerable. But you've seen it. You've assisted in supporting someone not ending their life.
Yep. Yeah, I had a good friend who I've known for a long time, and I was just trying to get the mental health put into Linden at the time, funny enough. And somebody in the company, we'd set up a network in the company of blokes who, if they thought that somebody weren't right, we all spoke to each other. It worked because somebody spoke to somebody who spoke to somebody who spoke to me, and I phoned this guy. A guy you know, George. And he won't have a problem because he talks about this stuff himself.
That's good.
So I went and saw him, and he's an angry kid at best. You know what I mean? He's a scaffolder at the end of the day. And let's sit down, let's talk what's going on. And I could see it in him. And long story short, I just went to him. I talked to him. I went, "Are you going to take your own life?" And we're sat in Nero's, right? Having a cup of coffee. I've given him his first croissant he's ever had in his life. He'd had it, woo, croissant, woo. And he's gone, "Yeah." And I went, "Okay. That sounds tough." And you could see the light that just lifted off him. And I went, "I've got no answers for you, mate." I said, "But I can help you." I said, "So we'll work out what we're going to do after this. But you got to make me a promise. Before you do, you phone me. And if you can make that promise to me, I'll make a promise to you that I will be behind you all the way to get you where you need to get." And let's look where he is now. He's going around delivering courses to mental health.
That's good.
So yeah, and it sends shivers up my spine. We've done a lot of good. So yeah, it's been good, and we hope to go on. I've sort of said lately I'm leaving it for a little bit because I'm concentrating on my career, and really what that means as well, I'm concentrating on me.
Good. Where was the sign what you saw with George at that particular time?
His eyes, because you can get taught all these open questions to ask people and what have you, but sometimes when you just look at someone and you take the chance and you just because I've had it where I've asked people and they've gone no, and I've gone fine. I'm happy. I always say I'm happy to be wrong, but am I seeing something in you that thinks you might want to hurt yourself or you know? And no, because you do realise that people have those thoughts, and then people normally come out of them, won't they? And he just said, "Yeah, man." His words were, "Yeah, man." And I said, "If you're going to take your own life," he went, "Yeah, man. Yeah, man." And from then we've been able to work.
It's hard, isn't it? And I remember that book that I've shared it loads in. I don't know if you've read it, but he's a famous guy. He does a lot of podcasting, goes around touring from America. Very successful, but he brought out a book, Power of One More. Or The Power of One.
And the idea jumped off the bridge?
No. The idea was he had created a business and it was failing. And he'd gone to his dad. His dad was an alcoholic to start with. And he got clean and he'd relapse, he'd get clean and relapse. And somebody stepped in, give him that hand. And he ended up going to a meeting. And the guy now was probably 13, 14 at the time. This is how he talks. And he said, "Dad, are you sober? Are you staying sober?" And he said, "Son, I can't promise that. Today I'm sober. Today I'm trying." And it was about the power of today, the power of one. And so he's got this business and he describes it as, you know, it's failing, can't afford to pay his water bill, his wife's showering from like a water bag. You know what I mean? He's now got jets and islands and stuff, but he was going to quit. And he went to his dad. He said, "Dad, I failed. I can't do it." He said, "Son, you can quit tomorrow."
Yeah.
And this is good advice. And again,
Quit
sometimes we
tomorrow.
don't know which direction we're going in. And I shared that a lot with my clients in recovery was quit tomorrow. Relapse tomorrow if you have to, Ian. But today you don't.
Me and George have got one thing, one more round. We always say we've got one more round in us. And you haven't we? We've all got one more round. Let's get up for that one more round. Quit tomorrow. And it's the more tomorrows come, don't they? So I always find you've got 15 minutes of madness where the addiction will jump on you. Nobody will know. You can do this. You've got a few quid in your pocket. Dun. Wouldn't it be nice to go and sit? If you can get past that 15 minutes, you're all right. At the start, when it used to come at the start, I used to go, sorry, piss off. Leave me alone. I'd be in the shower saying, shut up and leave me alone, right? People must have thought I was mad, but I used to actually say, leave me alone. But sometimes when it gets to a point where you go, and you listen to it. You know what I mean? But, yeah. Relapse has been I don't lie about it. Relapse, I've been in recovery 25 years. And going to meetings, doing it all, 12 steps, all that sort of stuff. And I'll end up finding something that pisses me off, so I'd go out of there. Then people piss me off, I don't come back in no more. This NA Nazi lot, I can't be angry with them. But do you know what? They all get clean, and you should just go and take what you want from it. These meetings, millions of people are getting clean in meetings, be they NA or AA. Just go to them, listen to what you've got to listen to. Don't get involved with the thing, and then just take away what you need. Do your morning readings, say your prayers. Like I get up every morning now. If I'm in a good space, I get up every morning, I do a morning reading, I say a prayer, just help me not hurt anybody today. Just get through the day, right? And I normally do. And it's about routine. And sometimes you wake up in the morning thinking, right, I'm going to tear the arse out of it today. But
do you think there should be something for families to be able to, because obviously they've got groups for the addiction side, but do you think that there should be like support groups for families, for people to actually go and understand? Because like sort of your mum, sometimes it's they hold that burden of it's them what's done this, or they've never been good enough to stop you from doing it. So for some families out there, and some wives and mums, dads, for them to understand what it is, what
not their shortcoming.
Yes,
it's not their shortcoming. I feel so sorry for them. And to the point where I thought a while ago, do you know what I'm going to do? I don't mind going in and talking things and going, do you know what? I was an addict, it wouldn't matter what my mum done for me. It wasn't because my dad brother got a bigger bite than I did when I was a kid. Sometimes it just happens, right? Yeah. And we're all going to think it's our fault if our kids go down the addiction route, because was it I wasn't giving them that they had to go and find somewhere else.
That's exactly it.
And it's not the case, right? And also a little bit of education as far as, when my parents found out I was first on it, I was locked in rooms with buckets and all that sort of stuff, and it's not the way to do it. But my dream, I'll be honest, my dream is to open a recovery house in Greece, right? Because I found where I want to do it. It's far enough away, 12-step program, get people going through it, coming out, and I will do it eventually in my life. I will do it.
I wish you all the best.
We'll do it.
Yeah, I found in our group work, I used to do women's group before I ended up finishing my placement hours, and the women in recovery were quite angry and resentful towards parents. And I know the other side, that like I still sit here sometimes angry, and there was nothing in the middle for families, and not so much active addiction but recovery. There was nothing in the middle to bring them together. And if we go back to one of the things we want this podcast to do, it's about connection, reconnect, and I know that's a hard task, and I'm not sitting here saying we're ever going to reconnect with my sister, because actually the anger's still there, the hurt, you know what I mean, there's no middle ground right now. So I don't want to be contradictive, because I'm not willing to do that work currently. But one of the women in placement, she was really resentful that her mum was able to care for her kids, although she couldn't care for her as a child. And I got it. I fully got it. And I said to her, right now, your mum's doing a job that you're not allowed to do. So instead of sitting in resentment, start seeing the privilege that your kids are not in mainstream foster care. And I could sit there judgmental, because I understood what mainstream foster care looked like, or connected carers looked like. So I wasn't sitting there judging, but I was trying to navigate in between, almost like a facilitator, although the other person wasn't there.
You was dropping that knowledge on them.
And I said to her, I know it's not what you want to hear, but maybe, and likewise to you, Ian, take from this, maybe at 16 when Luke was born, you wasn't able to step up like you would do now.
No.
And I said to her, your mum, I don't know her, I'm just assuming, maybe wasn't in a place to parent you the way you needed. Yeah. Was that the reason she was in addiction? I don't know. We didn't go deep on a one-to-one session. But I said to her, instead of sitting with that resentment that we can't change, you can't change, she was nearly 40 now, sit with the gratitude that your mum's doing the job that right now you can't do.
Yes.
And it was about breaking the cycle, because one day your kids might be sitting in recovery, resenting that you didn't parent them the way they needed to be parented. And it broke that cycle a little bit. Something twigged, and it was rewarding, because something twigged, and I hope she went back and was
that's one of them moments, isn't it?
But it was, and I sat there and I was like, something worked for that. And I hope she went home to her mum and was like, Mum, look, I know we're not seeing eye to eye, but how can we parent my kids together? And I respect the fact that you stepped up now.
In a perfect world, that'd be the perfect thing, wouldn't it? It's just we carry so much other stuff around us, don't we? It's my wife, her sister's alcoholic, so the mum looks after the two kids. One's schizophrenic, one's got. It's so dysfunctional, it's untrue. Not down to them, but it's just things happen. But I know my wife, as soon as her older sister wants help properly, we'll give it her. We'll get her. Hopefully before anything happens. But do you know what? We're just human beings doing our best, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we've got no manual of how to do it. With what you just said there is perfect what you said to them, isn't it? And that's got through to them. I've got goosebumps, because it's just like, when you get somebody sit there and say something in front of you, that's knowledge, man. And that's somebody who can sit there and go, oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, what? And that's what counseling is all about. You try, someone says to you what's counselling, if you would have said that to them, that's what counselling is about. About saying something at some point and go, well, what about think about it from this way and bringing that together, and when that happens and somebody going, oh yeah, nothing's changed but everything's different. You know what I mean? And
it was a massive light bulb, and I'm like, I don't know if we're ever going to create this group that's missing, because I was surprised in the West Midlands there is no family group work. So if you're an addict, you can go for recovery, although there's not very much therapy out there. If you're a family member, I think there's a few things online, you can Google it. But you sit in that resentment, you sit in the anger, and there's something missing. And I think we could talk about this all day.
But why don't you share that book? What was it called? And I can't remember who it was from. One More Day. Was it? What was it?
I don't know if I'm allowed to share him, but it was a guy.
Just share the book.
So it's called Power of One More.
That's the one. So even if people that are out there just even read that book, just Google The Power of One More, and that would even be able to give some kind of understanding for people further on. But we're going to leave on a positive, as we always do, which I've written this quote down, is when you take care of yourself, you feel better. And when you feel better, you look better. When you look better, things come your way, but it all starts with you.
It's an inside job.
Yeah.
And you'll feel incredible later with some hypnotherapy from Vic.
I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you so much for today. Even today, sitting there talking to you guys, it's been absolutely wonderful. And what I'd like to say, obviously on your behalf, once everything's settled down, in the next few weeks, I'm more than happy to donate 5 hours a week of my time to anybody for counselling that you know. Not a problem. I'm just going to probably have to be online, but that's there for you guys, for everyone you.
Oh, that's wicked! Yeah. Thank you so much.
Great, and that's it, Ian. Pay it forward for you guys. You don't even know what the act of kindness is. We are going to end because we've run out of time. But the idea of pay it forward, and we are going to end. But we went to a restaurant not too far from here 4 years ago, accidentally, because our friends had a tiff, so we didn't go out. There was a guy sitting at the end of the bar, minding his own business in his work gear, having a beer. Vic being Vic, she sent him a beer over. I don't know if he thought we were after something being females, but it was like, what you doing? She went, it's nice to be nice. That was the thing, Ian. So then he sends 2 beers over because there's 2 of us. So not meaning to sort of outdo him. She sent him one back, and then we went for food not in a posh place, but we got our bill, if you remember, and the receipt come, and it was paid, and at the top it said, "It's nice to be nice."
Do you know what? That's amazing.
And so pay it forward absolutely comes back around.
Yeah. And just doing nice things for people is nice, isn't it? Yeah. I think. Yeah.
Nice to be nice.
Yeah, it's nice to be
Guys, I know we've probably talked too long.
Ran out of time, but thank you and
Be safe.
yeah, be safe. See you soon.
Be good.